Hey guys, what's going on? I hope you've had an awesome week. We are in week 4 of our series, What to Do When You Don't Know What to Do. And our middle school pastor from our Pleasant Hill campus, Branan, is going to be bringing a message for us today. So without further ado, check out this bumper.
What's up, guys? Hope everybody is doing great. Before we dive in today, I just want to say that I miss you guys. I can't wait to see you. I can't wait until we're hanging back out in this room and we're hanging out at Kathleen Ignition and Pleasant Hill Ignition. I can't wait till we get back to that. But for now, we're going to keep rocking and rolling with what we're doing. And we're going to be continuing our series, What to Do When You Don't Know What to Do. And today we're going to be talking about the story of Joseph. We're going to jump back into Joseph's life. But before we do that, I want to talk about movies. And because I feel like right now we're all watching movies, right? Like all of us, we're kind of bored, so we're either watching movies or we're watching Netflix. And for me, one of my favorite movies of all times, and in fact, one of my favorite movie series of all times are the Rocky movies. Now, if you've never seen the Rocky movies, you need to watch them. They are incredible. I love them. Maybe you don't need to watch them. I don't know. They're kind of old, but they're some of my favorite movies of all time. And what it's about is this guy who, at 30 years old, he's just an amateur boxer. He gets a shot at the heavyweight title of the world. But the thing about Rocky's story, and the thing about these whole movies, is we pick up when Rocky's about 32 years old. We don't see Rocky's life beforehand. We just get a glimpse of what his life was like before we picked up in his story and how difficult it was for him, but we don't see the full picture. We didn't live it out the way that Rocky did in the movies. And maybe that's what it's like in our lives, right? Like understanding our backstory helps make a story more compelling and interesting and complex. And understanding Rocky's story helps that. And really with our own lives, understanding our backstory helps with that. Chances are you've also felt that way. Like you felt when you were living your own life. These are the moments in our lives, the real stories that make us ask questions like, what is going on and what is the point of going through this? And that's what it feels like in our life when we go through difficult times. That's what we're talking about today is difficult times. Like, why, God? Maybe you ask God, why am I going through this? And we're going to be asking the question, what to do when you don't know what to do when you're going through these difficult times. And we're going to be talking about the tough stuff today. Today we're going to be talking about what to do when people make fun of you. When a friend dies, maybe your learning disability makes everything more difficult. Your parents' divorce is killing you inside, or your self-harm habits have gotten out of control, or maybe someone you love gets really sick. And these are all difficulties that we go to, and they often seem random and pointless and unnecessary. And we ask questions like, God, why am I going through this? Why is this something that I am going through right now? Like why it feels unnecessary. It feels like we shouldn't have to. But most of the times, the things that don't feel good seem pointless. And I think we know that true in all of our lives, that the things that we're going through that are difficult and are tough, we're like, this seems pointless. It seems unnecessary. It seems like we don't even have to go through it. And why are we even going through it? And what we're going to do is we're going to look at someone in the Bible who had a really difficult life, who had a very difficult backstory. And we're going to be looking at Joseph's life. And this is in the Old Testament, so this is long before Jesus ever lived, just to kind of give you some context. And here's a little recap of what we've talked about the past few weeks. Joseph was sold into slavery by his own brothers, which that's tough. I couldn't imagine my brothers doing that to me. He was taken to a foreign country, Egypt, where he was forced to work for high-powered officials. So he had to work for someone he didn't want to, that he didn't have the choice to work for. And then he was falsely accused of doing something that he didn't do and was thrown into prison. And that's where we pick up today. And this is what it says. Sometime later, the cupbearer and the baker of the king of Egypt offended their master. They offended their master, the king of Egypt. Pharaoh was very angry with these two officials, the chief cupbearer and the chief baker, and put them in custody in the house of the captain of the guard, in the same prison where Joseph was confined. That's Genesis 40, verses 1 through 3. And so basically, Joseph, he's in prison, and these two guys who offended Pharaoh, who was like the ruler of Egypt, okay? He was the top guy. They offended him, and so he had them thrown into prison. It doesn't tell us exactly what they did, but we do know that whatever they did, it was worthy enough for them to be thrown into prison. And then we pick up here. After they had been in custody for some time, each of the two men, the cupbearer and the baker of the king of Egypt, who were being held in prison, they had a dream the same night, and each dream had a meaning of its own. When Joseph came to them the next morning, he saw that they were dejected. So he asked Pharaoh's officials who were in custody with him in his master's house, "Why do you look so sad today?" They answered, we both had dreams, but there is no one to interpret them." Then Joseph said to them, Do not interpretations belong to God? Tell me your dreams. So if we rewind, we remember that the whole reason Joseph got into this mess is because that he had a dream and he interpreted it to his brothers. And so we know that Joseph is able to interpret dreams. We know that he's able to understand these things. So what he does is he interprets these dreams for them. And after some time, the cupbearer, he gets out of prison. He goes back to work for Pharaoh. And you would think when he got out of prison, because Joseph said, "Hey, all I'm asking is for you to remember me." And you would think when he got out of prison, he would remember Joseph and tell Pharaoh what Joseph had done. But in fact, he completely forgot when he got out of prison. And for 2 whole years, he forgot about Joseph. It's almost like when he got out of prison, he was like, "You know what? I'm out. I'm free." And I don't even remember any of that, right? But see, one night, Pharaoh had dreams. And because of these dreams, Joseph, this cupbearer remembered Joseph, and Joseph was able to interpret them. And you see, these difficult circumstances positioned Joseph and prepared him for something great, something only he could do. And remember, God is really good at doing the impossible. And the reason that I say that is because for a lot of us, we have tough stories. We have something in our lives. Maybe, I went down that list earlier of things that might be going on. Maybe you're not going through all of them, but you're probably going through at least one of those or something else. And you're thinking, "God, why am I going through this?" But remember that even though Joseph's story was tough, even though it was difficult, God was with him, and it was because of Joseph's circumstances and his difficulties that he was able to use them later in his life. And Romans 8:28 says this, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." And in fact, this verse is so important to me. I love this verse that I have a tattoo of it. And I love this verse because what it's saying is that for those who belong to God, we have a purpose for our life. We have a purpose for our story. Now, it may be tough. Things may be difficult. We might be going through something right now and we don't feel like we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. But remember that no one else has your story. And remember that your story can interact with others. Remember, no one else has your story. You can use your story to glorify God. And remember, maybe one day you can use your story to help others. And our bottom line is this. When you don't know what to do, remember that your problems can position you for purpose. When you don't know what to do, remember that your problems can position you for purpose. When you don't know what to do in your life and you're going through a tough time, just remember that your problems can put you in a position to glorify God, maybe in that moment or down the road. And I know it's tough. I know life is difficult sometimes. I know that when we're going through things, all we can see is what's going on in front of us, right? Like all we can see is the problem going on in front of us. But remember that if we just remember that God has a plan for our lives, and if we do our best to stick to that plan and go down the road that he wants us to go down, that even in our difficulty, God can use our problems for purpose. I love you guys, and I can't wait to see you soon.
Wow, what a great message from Branan, and what a great reminder that our problems can actually position us for a purpose. Don't forget that tonight we are going live, and middle school will be going live at 5:30. High school will be going live at 6:30. Hope to see you guys there.